Jordan Pierre, the voice of a generation, talked about how some voices are heard, others are felt. Jordan Pierre does both, leaving audiences not just inspired, but forever changed. A nationally recognized keynote speaker, youth engagement specialist, media analyst, and aspiring psychologist, Jordan Pierre is a force in modern storytelling. With features on the Tamron Hall Show and Hoda and Jenna, he has mastered and harnessed the power of his voice to educate, uplift, and mobilize communities, especially young Black men. Through his own experiences and education behind the scenes of the media we consume, Jordan has come to understand the power of the screen on shaping of one's identity. He believes that you become what it is that you watch. And if you want to empower a child, you have to change that to what they see. His words don't just spark conversation, they ignite action. A proud Syracuse University alumnus, Jordan has earned both his bachelor's in broadcast and digital journalism and his master's degree in television, radio, and film. He merges deep media expertise with an unshakable commitment to truth, representation, and impact. In an era where authenticity is currency and leadership is defined by action, Jordan Pierre stands at the intersection of both a thought leader, a truth teller, and a voice that will echo for generations to come. His topic, the danger of a single narrative story, we'll talk about and explore how media and one's environment shape not only our perception of the world, but more importantly, our perception of others. He'll reflect on the narratives that he was exposed to growing up and the profound influence of media and how these factors shaped his identity. This led to the speech that he delivered at Syracuse University and the work he does now to reshape the narrative of Black men's existence in today's world. I give to you Jordan Pierre.
Good evening. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Pierre, and I'm a recent graduate of Syracuse University. I earned my bachelor's in broadcast and digital journalism and my master's degree in television, radio, and film. And what I want to talk to you all today about is the power of media, not only as a tool to assist us in articulating stories, but an ability to shape one's identity. In psychology, there's a term called the self-fulfilling prophecy, which means that people become what it is that you label of them or the expectation that you place upon them. And what I believe is, just like in psychology, that this term is too applicable in media, where if you show people repeated images of who it is that you want them to be, that is who they become. And what we are noticing is that we are living amongst a generation that's becoming what it is that they watch. What do I mean? What you watch impacts how you think impacts how it is that you behave, and how you behave plays a role in the configuration of your identity. Or to put it more eloquently, how a scholar once said, James Baldwin, that if the word does it to you long enough and effectively enough, you begin to do it to yourself. You become an accomplice to your own murderers. And I try my best not to judge, because there was a time period where I, as a young Black man, did not understand the power of imagery. But that all changed when I enrolled in an all-boys school called Eagle Academy in Brooklyn. And I remember the first day I went to the school, it was about 15 to 20 young Black men in front of the steps. And based on just their appearance alone, something inside of me ignited a sense of fear. And I found it to be ironic because, in essence, I was scared of young men that was only a reflection of me. But as I continued to approach them, all they did was embrace me with open arms. And that's when I began to understand the true power of media, and not only its power of how it conditions other people to perceive us, but how it is that it conditions us to perceive ourselves. So I went to Syracuse University with the intent to understand what was going on behind the screens. And when I got here, I was surprised. I was shell-shocked because it was a lot of white people. But most importantly, it was my first time ever being in an environment where I was around people whom I never talked to, but had a preconceived notion of who I was based on images that they seen through TV. And that would have been okay if the images through TV depicted us holistically of who we are as Black men. Not just as entertainers and athletes, but as scholars too. So when I got to this school, I felt like I had something to prove. That you could be a young Black man and a scholar too. So I went and joined every organization. I even ran to be the president of the school. Because I wanted to show that you could be a young Black man and be a scholar too. So I had the opportunity to deliver a speech at my convocation for Newhouse, a speech that went viral. It had millions of views on TikTok, led to me being able to speak at different institutions and universities around this world. And it didn't dawn on me until a friend brought it to my attention that despite all the recognition or national recognition that the speech received, that no local media outlet, including the school itself, covered it. And it made me question, why wouldn't a predominantly white institution portray a young black man as the face of it? And it reminded me of something. Because I'm like, if anything, Syracuse is ranked number 2 when it comes to black economic disparity. So if it was any place in the world that needed to see a young black man being portrayed as something that they could see to be different, it ought to be Syracuse. And I sat and I thought about, I said, why would they not portray me as a young black man as a face of a predominantly white institution? And I sat there, I started doing studies, but I came to understand that was a part of a black inferiority campaign that existed way beyond my time, but started in 1915. Where the first feature film that was ever depicted in the White House was that called The Birth of a Nation. A film of white men dressed up as blackface that depicted us as black men to be menace to society. Images that was used later on to justify the actions of the KKK as civilizing beasts. And the unfortunate part of it is I feel like the propaganda worked. Because the race of people that once felt it to be demeaning to be depicted as a menace to society now have created shows to make it seem as if it's a badge of honor. A race of people that once used to be tortured, killed, and abused for wanting to aspire to be a scholar don't even aspire to want to be that no more. They only want to be YNs and streamers. So now when we have a new administration that's making attempts to remove our history, we're not even standing in the uproar. Right now in colleges and universities around this world, African American studies departments are being defunded and gaming is being made a major. They literally removing our history for entertainment. That's major. A race of people that once understood the importance of education, we're not even pursuing school. This declining young black men aspiring to attend college because of mainstream narratives telling us we only need to pursue the route that equates to money. A prime example is that in Howard University, one of the most prestigious historically black colleges in this country, only has a 19% student demographic of young black men. To make that make sense, that means that there's more non-black male students in this historically black college than there are black young men. So the silencing of narratives, being able to show young men different narratives of like people like me on the screen is having a real life effect. But the only reason why I came here to even deliver this message is because I believe we have a solution. And that is to change what it is that the youth are seeing. Because I believe before we ever reaffirm a youth and the power of their voice, we must first get them to understand that they can aspire to become more than the images being depicted of them on the screen. And I'm just not too sure who is that I should hold accountable. Should I hold those accountable that control media and the images that's being redisseminated? Or should I hold us accountable? Or maybe it's just a collective responsibility for we too play a role in it. But what is the solution? At our fingertips, we all possess the ability to create, share, and normalize certain stories. But not only do we have the ability to tell stories, but to shape identity. And I want us to be more intentional and mindful of the stories that we share, the stories that we create, and the narratives that we normalize. Because I just don't understand what's worse. How media has conditioned other people to see young black men like myself, or how it has conditioned young black men like me to see ourselves. Thank you.